Good morning, everyone. Good evening. This is Bindia Vakil. It is absolutely wonderful to have you on this session. Thank you for taking time to attend today. Let's start. Today we have myself as well as Sandeep Ramachandran, who is our Director of Product Management. And I'm sure many of you know Sandeep from having worked with him closely for the last many years. So between the two of us, we will take you to this journey without further delay. I know there is a lot going on in your personal and professional life at the moment. So I want to take a quick moment to say that we truly appreciate you spending your time with us today. And we sincerely hope that this is a valuable, informative, and exciting session for all of us here using the Resilinc ecosystem. The goal in today's session, so just a quick note that slides we will be sending after this meeting. Feel free to type in any questions as they come up across the next hour. We'll be monitoring your questions in the Q&A panel, and we'll try to, address them within the session and our talking points themselves if we can. And so don't wait till the end. Feel free to start typing them up as they come into your mind. Now, obviously, due to time constraints, if we miss anything, we will definitely respond over email by close of business today. And also, your CSM team will be deep diving into a lot of these features. They'll definitely follow up with you at your regularly scheduled meetings. And certainly, we're always happy and available to go through it one-on-one to deep dive into anything that you may want to discuss. So with that, let's get started. Okay, thank you, great. All right, so to start with, I want to talk about just the solution journey, our vision for this company, this platform and product. Many of you know Resilinc, this is actually our 10th year of Resilinc. And we started this journey being a supply chain mapping solution, added monitoring, business continuity, et cetera. And certainly for the last 3 years, we basically re-architected and built our entire solution on our own platform. This was super important for Resilinc because we needed to be able to harness the latest innovation, the best technology, and apply all of this to reimagine how we do procurement and supplier management. The idea behind supply chain risk management at the end of the day is to improve supplier performance, right? Risk management means more predictable performance with less variability. At the end of the day, that's what we are all about. And to that end, you need good, detailed, comprehensive data intelligence and the best technologies. So all of the things we have done so far have led us to this point where today Resilinc, from a platform perspective, we're cloud agnostic. In the cloud, we're in the IBM cloud, but for the aerospace and defense industry, Resilinc has also deployed very successfully our entire solution on premise or in the private cloud. So we offer that option. Our mobile app has been redesigned, and we are seeing a lot of positive customer feedback about how easy and intuitive it is. So if you haven't downloaded it yet, folks, please talk to my team, and we have some really exciting offers later today to help you and your team really embrace and adopt the mobile app. I think just a quick note on mobile is, if you just think about it, a lot of companies spend tens of millions of dollars building very expensive, state-of-the-art emergency briefing centers or EBCs. And with the pandemic, we saw them all not be able to be appropriately utilized. So the traditional mindset and thinking that we have, which is to sit together in a war room and talk our way out of supply chain problems, that is in the past. Today, the teams need to be information at our fingertips, right on our mobile app. And here at Resilinc, we believe this is the future where we have information at our fingertips. A lot of processes are automated, And we will talk more about how we are automating many of the processes that were manual in the past that we can now leverage our connected platform. So if you think about, just look at 10 years ago, Resilinc was the supply chain mapping company, right? We still are. That is the core of what we do. We're the best at it and the most successful at it, with more than 100,000 suppliers now onboarded to our platform, more than 450,000 sites worldwide, mapped across 160 plus countries. We are monitoring using natural language processing, 100 plus languages, 44 different event types. We have 10 years of event data and history data on all kinds of issues, supplier information, and all of this. There are just so many things that this data can power up. But not only that, with PartSite, we've mapped more than 3 million parts to the 450,000 sites worldwide. We have collected, just take business continuity. We've been collecting supplier business continuity data at the site level since 2013. We have amassed more than 35,000 site level BCPs. Millions of connections made on the sub-tier side. So just if you look at that, what we are now excited about adding is the next level of operationalized information, such as inventory visibility, purchase order, predictive power of purchase order delays, as well as lead time visibility, things that we still in the direct supply chain do manually. I still see many of the companies we talk to are still using email to collect lead time data from suppliers and manually put it into the ERP system. There is ways that we can leverage the Resilinc platform to just have all the supplier information flow right into one place, and then apply tons of natural language processing, machine learning, and deep learning to be more predictive about variations in delivery data, pricing, lead times going up, because all of that leads to one thing: how much cash do we need to run the business? How many people do we need? How much inventory we need to hold? So the more accuracy, real time, and updated data we can feed in, the more efficient our supply chain becomes. And the more our supplier performance can be predicted and managed more effectively. So at the end of the day, that's the direction, and we are coming at this from in many ways, obviously platform, but also consulting and advisory, and help from our team of experts. So let's just quickly look at the last 6 months in our journey. As I mentioned, we were doing a lot of supply chain mapping. This year, when we were on our old platform, which was on the force.com platform, the way the platform worked, it really forced us to, do supplier onboarding ourselves, not give that power to our customers. There was a lot of restriction that we had. As of January, I'm super excited to announce that suppliers onboarding can be completely self-served. You can create whatever supplier assessment you want on Resilinc. It could be, we actually, because I've obviously been in procurement for many years, several people on my team have been in procurement for many years, so we know how to do supplier assessments. And so we have our whole library, but you can create your own tailored assessment, and we certainly do that. So we see companies doing CSR, sustainability, supplier compliance assessment, cybersecurity, capacity, and just think right now in this environment, just the capacity assessment is a complete no-brainer. And you can drag and drop, take our assessment, launch it, self-serve, onboard suppliers, analyze, and go. Now, to add to that, and I'll skip a couple just to where we're going with this is now we're adding collaboration and workflows and other things. And so this initial data collection is going to be easily translated into analytics and action. So that's, at the end of the day, where we're going. COVID-19, tremendously impactful to all of us, transformational to supply chain. I think the exciting thing in being in supply chain today is that our generation will get to design the supply chain of the future. So we built COVID-19 related dashboard control tower so that you can get all your COVID-19 related information in a single place. And we integrated it with recommendation engine so that it suggests to you alternate suppliers, sites, or parts that you could leverage. The proactive workflow, I'll let Sandeep talk about this in more detail in the next couple of slides. Super excited. I'm really proud of the customer collaboration that we had with multiple customers passionately and constantly giving us design feedback, ideas, requirements, and helping actually part of the testing process on the workflow. The exchange is something we as a company are really proud of. We launched this free for the healthcare industry for COVID. My team mobilized between March and we literally built the solution within 3 weeks, end to end, from conceptualizing this idea, working with Stanford Healthcare, and literally going live 3 weeks later, onboarded more than 300 health systems, which is over 1,000 hospitals, and help facilitate many exchanges between hospitals nationwide through this platform. And we will be taking this forward in the future, in the next year or so, with how can we help the exchange become the inventory optimization or dispositioning solution, where you can go find solutions to your inventory shortages or excess. Disposition excess. The mobile app, I already talked about it. I'll let Sandeep talk about the workflow we have automated on that. And then this is a really exciting new service. We have so much data. We're now screening suppliers. So talk to my team if you're interested in learning more. So I think, Sandeep, I'll let you kind of take it from here. Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Bindya, for setting up the stage for me and laying out the vision for the product and the direction that we are headed towards. So Bindya just talked about the high-level items that we have released so far in 2020. This slide actually talks about a little more in detail exactly what we talked about, but more and more in detail as to into what we have released so far. I'm going to skip this slide. Of course, we'll be sending the text so that you can go into the details, and if you have any questions, we can always circle back and explain more about it. But let me start with the next slide here. There you go. So this slide talks about the assessment library to start with. And as Bindya was saying, data is so key to uncovering all these risks and making the decisive actions that, this is very important for you. Maybe an event-based issue, or if it is more of a proactive approach that you're taking, the data is a big thing. And you might have several different initiatives that you are having in your organization. For example, it may be CSR, may be cyber security capabilities of your supplier. You're triaging the cyber security capability of the supplier, the quality, business continuity, and could be any kind of initiative that you're trying to understand the capability of the supplier. And that's where the assessment library becomes so much important and helpful for you to collect that information on the go. And it's actually a very simple 4-step process to quickly initiate and launch this assessment to the suppliers that you intend to do it. And this starts with, we have a library of assessments which has been created by practitioners. They have been, carefully crafting the questions based on the context that we're looking at, which is also available for you to quickly just take up and just initiate it to your suppliers, or based on certain questions or sections or factors that you're interested, you can quickly create a new assessment on your own. Once you create the assessment, this is, it is more about, personalizing the questions, and that's where the customization option comes in. And with the new assessment self-serve that we have launched, it allows you to translate assessments in more than 30 different languages. And I have a success story that I'll share in a few minutes, but I think those actually help in further adoption from your suppliers to providing the responses on a timely manner as well. Once your assessments are customized, it's about configuration and launching, which is you would just quickly select the suppliers that you want to launch. you would select what kind of an email and the content that needs to be there in that email that needs to be triggered out. And once you're done, you just click on a button, which is submit. That means the surveys are getting launched to your suppliers. Once the responses come back, you have these visualization dashboards, which quickly identify or gives you that understanding of what the gaps are, so that you are able to get a scorecard of your supplier on the areas that you feel is more important. And the story that I was going to talk about was during the early days of this pandemic situation, we actually had a lot of customers who did launch the pandemic assessment to their suppliers. And the good part of it was, of course, they were early in the game. They actually translated these surveys to Mandarin and traditional Chinese. And at that early stages, it was more focused, the issue was more focused in Chinese provinces. And the interesting result that we got was a lot of suppliers started to respond, not just with the options, but there were a lot of comments and information additional to what they were asked for that they were providing through the assessment. So comments after comments and details about their business continuity plan, what is their company's next steps on how they're handling the situation, and everything was being easily shared from the supplier side to the customer side. And these customers were effectively able to triage it, go back to the suppliers, create a proper business continuity plan, and so on and so forth. So I think that was a very successful story that I wanted to share, which is by that ease of use, customers quickly launched it, the suppliers adopted it, they started to respond in their traditional languages that they are more comfortable with. So all in all, everyone was able to share information and make use of it the most. This pretty much shows you some of the items that I just talked about, right from the left-hand side. If you see, you can see a list of assessments from our library. You can see the cyber assessment, BCPs, the quality pledge, sourcing compliance, CSR related, ISO certifications, anything that you can think about. There are those assessments already available. And in case you wanted to update a few questions, you can just clone the assessment and customize it. If you want to create a completely new assessment, you have that opportunity as well. On the right-hand side, this is just to show you how simple it is. It is just an easy drag and drop of different kinds of questions. So let's say you wanted to have a question which is checkbox based, or it's a drop down versus you want to get some documentations from the suppliers. It's as easy as just dropping the questions, editing the questions on the go. And then as you click on the save and launch, it allows you to add your suppliers and then launch the assessment directly to the supplier. So this slide talks about the EventWatch mobile app, and the evolution of the mobile app. As Bindya was saying, everyone, we are all so much hooked into our mobiles these days that we wanted to enable our users to perform the event-based risk mitigation and management much more effectively and with utmost ease. So over the last few months, we have been working on a lot of improvements on how the mobile app can add more value to you from the user interface standpoint, from the user experience standpoint, right from getting the notifications to being able to easily triage what the issue is all about, how is it affecting your company, to collaborating, and more importantly, taking actions and closing the gaps that's out there based on an event that could affect the company. And if I were to walk you through how the flow would work easily from a mobile app standpoint, from the left-hand side, you can see the Resilinc team constantly monitoring and sensing for different kind of disruptions happening around the world. And when an event happens, the machine learning algorithm and the NLP system that we have quickly identifies how is it impacting to the industry or to your company. And in the month of March, we actually upgraded the machine learning algorithm to get more granular information from the media with improved relevancy. So more and more improved relevant information is what we have been trying to get to your mobile apps directly. Now, getting back, once you have the notification, what we would do is we would try to correlate to see if there is any impact directly to your company. If so, then you have a personalized war room, which is created with your supply chain information with details of what could be affected due to this event. And if you look at it, you can see how the UI has completely been changed. Quick visual indicators to be able to focus on the ones which are more impactful, quick filters as well that you see that's been added so that you can at the end of the day you want to focus on mitigating issues rather than just reading through it. So having the ability to filter and visual indicators allow you to get to that next step of mitigations more effectively. And another important thing that we have also seen is when we send you an impact notification, we also send the suppliers the notification asking them to confirm the impact so that that collaboration starts right away with your suppliers. And over the last few months, we have seen a big surge in our suppliers responding to events. As I was saying, from the assessment standpoint to the events as well, suppliers have been responding to the events. They have been confirming or saying that they're not impacted by the event. If they're confirming there's an impact, they're sharing the downtime, and that too, more importantly, through the mobile app. So the suppliers, we have seen a surge in the suppliers adopting the mobile app. So all in all, the suppliers and the customers on the fingertips, you're actually able to collaborate easily. Now, once you have all this information, the war room provides you details on, what are the parts affected, which are the suppliers affected, what's the resiliency score, how much time is the supplier down. So you're able to quickly prioritize what are the suppliers or areas that you need to focus. And then more importantly, you can start collaborating with your suppliers through the new collaboration center that we have, which is you can talk to your internal teams, you can talk to your external suppliers, bring them all under the roof of this mobile app. And there's a seamless experience for both the suppliers, the internal team members, and your entire organization. And Vindhya, I want to just bring in you here because you have been talking to a lot of executives and you have been showing the mobile app, and there has been an overwhelming response. So can you share any experience in the call?
Yeah, couple of interesting things. I think from a leadership standpoint, instead of as a chief procurement officer or a VP, particularly during events like COVID was certainly huge. But even on an ongoing basis, when events happen, as a leader, what we saw is chief procurement officers have a delay in their ability to provide updates to their own leadership, so CEOs or CFOs or customer business unit heads and salespeople. Sales leaders all need information about how big is this, are we impacted, yes or no, etc. The mobile app allows them to be in the know from the beginning to the end, know exactly what teams are doing without having to go into a war room, wait for 2 days for the team to do the assessment, as well as now with collaboration and messaging being added. One of the things that what we are hearing from leadership is, I can just ask the team right away about something about a supplier. So I think the key thing is that from a leadership perspective, it really eliminates the manual work and delay and information right at your fingertips. And we've now, with all the enhancements to consolidate emails and all of that, we see that it's a much more seamless and far better user experience than trying to have, the web application being used by a leader. So I think from our perspective, what we've seen when we talked and when we have chief procurement officers or VPs of procurement use it, they're like, well, why isn't my entire team using this? That was one of our recent stories where one of the chief procurement officers used the mobile app for 2 weeks and said, I want all my 600 people on this because it's just simple, right at my fingertips.
Yeah, I think since it's mobile app and since we are all used to WhatsApp and messaging and the push notification, it just ingrains into our day-to-day activity with all these notifications and showing you what is important. I get it, and especially with the collaboration center that we have released, one of the important features that I do like, and I know I'm going to go into the details in a second. I'm actually stealing my own thunder here, but the mention for functionality where you can actually target a specific user and let them know, hey, this is going on, just FYI. So those kind of functionalities that we have added, that just adds it to the next level or takes your experience to the next level, I would say. Perfect. So here I want to talk a little bit about the workflows, and as Vindhya was mentioning, this was in the month of March that we introduced the workflows. And for people who are not yet familiar with what workflows does, once you assess and prioritize the risk, which you would do on a day-to-day basis, you would usually go through a mitigation process where you may have a risk register, you would add the details into it, there you would assign different tasks, and this whole process that people have been following in the past was so much manual and so much cumbersome, and the automation was never a question there, and it was so much cumbersome, as I was talking about. So what we did was, and again, one more point to add on to it is, in most cases it's all Excel based. So the very traditional approach was still being utilized in most of the cases that when we researched as well. So what we did was we actually went into the different verticals. We talked to a lot of customers from verticals, high tech, life sciences, FMCG, to understand how do they manage the risk and how do they mitigate the risk? How do they assign the different tasks based on the gaps that they find in the supply chain? How do they close the gaps? So based on those interactions and the feedback that we received, we actually created the smarter way to manage or mitigate risks in a much better way, and that too in a much more better scalar method as well, I would say. So here that's how workflows evolved, and right from starting, you can create a mitigation or workflow or from a partner level or an event or a part or a site level. So let's take an example. You are in an event, you're going to an event, you get to know that their supplier has been impacted. You can quickly create a workflow and then assign the different tasks to the different team members. You can track the progress of the tasks as well. The other thing is you can also onboard playbooks. For example, let's say you have different scenarios that you're trying to manage every day, and based on the different scenarios and the set of actions, you can bring all those playbooks into the system. So when a scenario happens the next time, you could just onboard that playbook. Collaboration is again an integral part of this. Audit logs are available, visualization and tracking progress as well. So if you're reporting it back to your higher management, if you want to track the progress of mitigations by a specific business unit or a category or a supplier, you have those visualizations available as well. And one of the things I have it on the screen as well. I want to acknowledge Christopher Wolf from Western Digital as well. And this is another success story, which is based on the workflows that we released, and we did partner with Western Digital and getting a lot of this feedback. They've actually institutionalized this in their commodity organization, and they have been trying to use it whenever there are mitigation actions and assigning, so much more effective, seamless way of managing risk thereafter. So here are a couple of slides that I have is going to talk about what we recently released in the June release. So one of the things that we have focused is on adding more functionalities on the event watch settings and what kind of emails different kind of users have been receiving. And again, the whole vision being that we want to make you focus on things that matter most to you as well. So with that in hand, what we have done is we have given more control for the admins to help in configuring emails or settings of other users. For example, I'm sure your commodity managers, buyers, or other users have reached out to the admin/risk manager asking, hey, I want to just select a notification for a specific set of suppliers or a category, or I want to just hear notifications or receive notifications for a specific event type. So what an admin could now do is they could quickly get into the event watch settings. On the left-hand side of the screen that you see, you can make the changes. On the right-hand side, you can select different users who would want the settings to be applied. And it could be one user versus any number of users. And based on that, if you make the setting changes, select the suppliers and save it, now the settings have been applied to all the users. So the admins have a much higher, better control over what kind of emails, etc. a user wants to receive. And this is a part of the June release, by the way. The other thing that we have also released was on the impact duration. So when suppliers or the customer updates the impact duration, previously it was just in weeks, but we did realize that impacts a lot of cases the impacts could be in hours or days. So what we have introduced is the ability to now update impact notifications or impact duration, not just in weeks, but hours and days. And this is also available in the mobile app. So quickly, as a customer, as a supplier, they will be able to provide more granular information about the impact that they're going through right away. This is another interesting update that we came out with. So we have a lot of our customers providing different additional risk factors and scores, like let's say sustainability, cybersecurity scores, and these might be different KPIs that they are monitoring or creating internal. So with Resilinc being that one platform where you have a supplier profile with all the risk factors being considered when you consider the risk of the supplier, more and more customers have been onboarding these external risk information or factors into the system. Now, with this online form, what the user is able to do is quickly edit the scores. Let's say in this case, I want to update the score of the sustainability score of 3M based on a recent interaction that I had, or they might have just submitted some audited information about their capability. So as a user, rather than going through the whole CDIF process, which can take some time, the user can quickly come to this form, double click on 3M, update the scores and save it. Now, in case you want to update the scores for quite a few factors, quite a few suppliers, you have the ability to download the file, add all the latest information to it, and then quickly upload it so that all the scores are reflected right away. And then you have also the ability to get to the collaboration center. The workflows can be initiated from here. So all in all, this is a place where you can quickly work with your suppliers, get the scores updated immediately, and then focus on the other set of risky suppliers that might be out there. Here we are talking about the filters. Again, another very interesting thing that we have been working on. We did get a lot of feedback in terms of needing the ability to filter the information in dashboards specific to a user and their interest. So let's say I'm a category manager. I want to just see the information on the dashboard. Let's say it's the mapping dashboard of all the suppliers that we have launched. So I want to see the information only specific to my category. Or if you're more at a business excellence team, I want to see the progress based on a specific business unit or a product family or a product line, etc. Now we have brought in those additional filters in these dashboards to be able to quickly filter the view based on these options that you have. And then once you save these filters, you have the ability to, next time you log in back, you just have to see whatever you think is more important for you, which is a specific category or a supplier, and so on. And this is an ongoing activity as well. So far, we have introduced the filters in mapping summary and the product family, product hierarchy filters in the mapping summary, sub-tier visibility, survey response dashboard, and the partner dashboard as well. And we will be going into the other dashboards in the next few months as we speak, adding these filters. Yeah, Bindya talked a little bit about the supplier screening as a service, and we're excited to leverage the vast amount of information that we have been collecting so far. So as Bindya said, 10 years of event information, right from lawsuits to quality issues. If it's a life sciences supplier that you're focusing on, what are some of the FDA related issues that the supplier has been affected in the past, cyber attacks, any kind of theft, security issues, chemical spills, force majeures, leadership changes. All this massive amounts of information we have been collecting, and it is readily available with us. And through this whole supplier screening as a service, it's a very simple process for customers, which is you would send us the supplier name, and we would receive, once we have it, we would go through all the information that we have so far, put it in a report, and then send it to you back. So this is specifically, I think, going to be really, really helpful for procurement and sourcing functions, because you want to get to know the profile of a supplier before you award a long-term agreement with them. So this would be a good aid and informational point for you before big decisions are made. And Bindya, is there anything that you wanted to add? Yeah.
Yeah, just a real quick add is this is, I want to kind of just have you appreciate the scale of information. I mean, we are doing tens of thousands of these. So for the customers who have signed up and subscribed to this service, we are churning these out very, very quickly. We have a really strong and robust process that we follow. All the information that we have taken that is unstructured data was in public domain in the past. Because Resilinc has been doing Event Watch for so many years, we have basically created this unstructured data, which we transformed into structured data, which is the really exciting thing. So it allows us to do this at a very, quick and efficient price point, and also more importantly, at scale. So just if you haven't heard of this or if you're interested in learning more, please do let us know.
Thanks, Bindya, for chiming in here. So let's switch gears a little bit and talk about what's coming between July and October 2020. Again, this is at a high level that we want to talk about some of the key things. And before I get into addressing the functionality feature items, I just wanted to quickly talk about the topic on the performance improvements that we have been making on our dashboards and the product itself. So off late, you might have seen some changes in terms of how we have been improving the performances, right? From the homepage, for example, you might have seen that the map is now starting to show 3 months of open events. Previously, it was 1 year of information. And that was too much of, and we agree that was too much of information being shown, 1 year of open events. In most cases, people would not worry about it after a few months. So we have taken that out, cleaned it so that the homepage is much more optimized now for faster performance. Other dashboards as well, we are trying to clean the charts, the queries, the filter functionalities have been brought in. So we're trying to add more and more optimized dashboards for you. In terms of some of the other dashboards, Hurricane, it's already the hurricane season that's going on. We have worked on the hurricane simulator and it's updated for the new for the hurricane season. Mapping summary and partner dashboard, there are a few items that we have upgraded on that as well. So I just wanted to start off with emphasizing that there are quite a number of performance improvement initiatives that we have taken up, and that's going to go for the next few months, so that experience that you have is going to be improved. Now, looking at some of the new product feature releases that we are going to have, very excited on the collaboration center. I know we have talked about it. We have seen some screens as well, I'm sure. But in a nutshell, collaboration is something which can be considered as an integrated platform where you can assess your events, your supplier risk scores, your different assessments, and you can seamlessly collaborate with your suppliers on the go as well. So you can think about Slack or a Teams, which would just allow you to message your internal teams. But just imagine when you have the entire supply chain and intelligence and events and the war room, everything put on top of it, and then being able to seamlessly collaborate with your internal and external team. That takes it to the next level where you can perform your assessments to right away to interact, closing gaps, the workflows, everything together like a command center for you. So that's the collaboration center. And I have a few screens that I'll go through in a few seconds here. So that's coming out in the next few days. I'm very excited about it. In the month of August, we have the modern upgraded war room. I'm sure some of you have seen the preview of it, and it pretty much helps you to customize the layout. You're able to apply your different kind of filters. You have enhanced visualizations. You have the collaboration and workflows integrated, etc. Again, I have a preview slide as well on it, but that's another exciting thing that's coming out in the month of August. September, I think this is big, which is we have a lot of our customers which have been going down the tiers, collecting that intelligence. And now when events impact the sub-tier suppliers, how do we know that, what is the impact to my company? And that's where the sub-tier supplier impact confirmation is something that we are introducing in the month of September. So as a customer, you would be able to know which are your tier 1 supplier and what's the confirmation from the sub-tier supplier if they are affected, which actually takes you to that next level of mapping and intelligence and being able to be prepped from your side from getting affected. So exciting thing on September is the sub-tier impact confirmation. Another item on September is the self-serve wizard for kickoff. So this is an enhancement or a new feature that we are adding on the existing assessment library or assessment capability. As we are trying to make it more and more self-serve, we are trying to give you a guided experience from how to initiating an assessment to customizing, configuring the assessment all the way to launching. So much more guided step-by-step visit approach is what we are trying to take through the self-serve wizard feature that we are introducing in the month of September. October, we have two main items. This is one of the items that Bindya touched upon. I know she's personally very much excited about it. So am I, which is bringing in inventory and lead time visibility information to our supplier assessment library. So getting that information, into the different kind of events and being able to proactively, understand how and what kind of impact could, affect my company. So that's an interesting thing that we are focusing on. And the last one, but not the least, is the what if on the mobile. As we are pushing the envelope on the mobile side, we are trying to bring in that simulation scenario building capability within the mobile app so that you can create these scenarios, share it with the teams, get the workflows done, collaborate with the suppliers, everything in one house. Yeah, in the next few slides, I have a few screenshots of what it is coming in. So Collaboration Center, this is, I'm sure, the first review for all of you as to what's coming out. So here, as I was saying, seamlessly integrate all your different systems together, be able to communicate internally, externally, broadcasting functionality, attachment. These are broken down into our phase 1, phase 2 releases for the Collaboration Center. And if I go into a detailed screen, I think these are some of the screenshots. And it's also available in the mobile, by the way. And if I go into a specific screenshot, which is what you see here, at the top, these are the different contexts at which we have the Collaboration Center. Everything is very contextual so that down the line, you're able to connect the dots as to what event, what communication was happening, how do I learn from it, and so on and so forth. So at the top, you see the different contexts from events to assessments to workflows, and anything which is outside these contexts. Let's say it's a scorecard that you want to talk about. It's a quality issue you want to talk about. That's where you can easily talk to your supplier one-on-one with the partner's context, which is way at the top. Now in this screenshot, I have one which is specific to events. So in this, you can see the list of all the events, the impactful events out there. When you go into the details of the event, you can see all the members of your commodity teams with respect to those suppliers potentially affected being listed. So you're going to see the list of all the suppliers from an event as an example listed here. You can talk to them, share details. You have the war room as well in one place. I think I have a screenshot later in the deck as well where you can talk to the suppliers at the same time, assess and triage from the war room as well. So all in all, your entire supply chain and collaboration together brought in together is what the Collaboration Center is. Yeah, this is another favorite of mine, which is, a lot of these assessments go out, and when the assessments get filled in, we see that the suppliers there are some gaps in the assessment. So as a user, you could just, from the Collaboration Center, pull up the assessment. In this case, it's a BCP assessment. You pull up the assessment. The red section shows that these are gaps in the assessment. On the right-hand side, it's actually a panel where you can actually message your supplier. So the supplier would have a similar screen. They can have the back and forth communication. Supplier updates the assessment from their side, and real time, the scores are updated at your end as well. So it's a kind of a working live kind of a situation here where, suppliers update, you see it, and there's seamless communication henceforth. One item that I want to call here is the email consolidation. So we have been focusing, there are quite a few emails that, based on the different contexts that you do receive every day. So we have been focusing on consolidating the emails, and it will continue as well. In 2019, we completed the consolidation of emails, what suppliers get based on the different events or surveys, etc. Similarly, the emails that you get when suppliers confirm impact, or if suppliers don't confirm impact, there were a few emails that you would get, which was later on consolidated. Right now, we are focusing, or in fact, in the upcoming releases, we are consolidating emails on the Collaboration Center as well as workflows, and we will keep consolidating it in other areas like events and so on, so that you can focus on what matters most, which is mitigating the risk at the end of the day. Yeah, this is a preview of the new modern integrated war room. So as you can see right away, it pops up if you are very much used to the old war room. This is a complete change, and how from the UI perspective, from the user experience perspective. So some of the important things that you can see here is everything is flexible in terms of moving around the charts. You have quick filters. You have the map with material flow visualization. Activities and timeline of different events happening, so you can track what happened at what time, when, which day, etc. quick filters are available. You have integrated reports all in the same view way at the bottom. And more importantly, you also have the ability to collaborate and initiate workflows right away. So if an event happens, a supplier is impacted, you can now connect it to the workflows right from here. Yeah, this is one of the collaboration plus the work collaboration plus event war room brought in together. So this is the exact war room which you would see in the collaboration center. And on the right hand side, this is where the panel is, where you can talk to your supplier, make changes in statuses, talk to your internal team. So in one view, in real time, you can make all the changes and collaborate seamlessly is what we have. So with that said, Bindya, let me bring you back in to talk about the product roadmap and some more details as to what exciting things that we have lined up for our customers.
Thank you, Sandeep. So I think as you saw, we now with Resilinc's last 6 months and the coming 3 to 4 months that we've just talked about, there's a lot going on the Resilinc platform, where we first were just monitoring and mapping and doing some data collection and creating a bunch of dashboards. We're now taking action. Collaboration and workflows takes us towards that final end point, which is how do you take all of this to make the supply chain better? Collaborate with people, including your own team and your suppliers. And then the last thing is set up automated proactive playbooks and action items and track those. So just a lot more. This is not done. We will be continuously adding these capabilities and growing and bringing some automation and things like that to these, what you have seen so far. In addition to all the things that you have seen, there are some 2 or 3 very exciting things that are also going on that are personally I'm passionate about. One is the supply chain visibility solution. We designed that 3 years ago. We've learned a lot as we've onboarded, as I said, tens of thousands of suppliers. And so there are some things that we can really bring in to optimize the supplier experience, make it easier and faster for them to share. We'll talk about that a little bit more. But when we started this company, there were 3 things that I always wanted to predict, because I said for risk management in the supply chain and supplier management space, if I can predict PO delivery delays, lead time getting extended, price fluctuations, these are things that would guarantee supplier performance and guarantee my supply chain performance as a practitioner. And so the first of those is the PO delivery delay predictive artificial intelligence driven model. We have successfully built this in partnership with one of our customers and a core design partner. I think for the last 8 years, we have had a lot of capabilities that we have innovated on, working very closely with WD, but that continues to this day. More on this we can talk about, but the idea here is taking all of the one thing I will say is that this has never been done before in the world. The one thing that Resilinc has that is very unique to us is that we bring in that additional dimension of PO delivery performance compared to event occurrence. And so we can actually not just create a machine learning model that is a little bit more correlative, we can actually establish causality. This is why we're very excited about the accuracy of the predictions that are coming out of this model. So we'll talk a little bit more in detail on this one. Product ease of use. I mean, if you think about the breadth of everything Resilinc does, we are like 10 companies all rolled into one. We do data collection from public domain monitoring, supplier surveys, mapping, all these analytics. Now we have collaboration workflow. So there's a tremendous amount of complexity in this entire process. This is a fairly comprehensive solution. So how do we make it easy to consume, easy to action? This is a key thing that we will be working on in multiple phases over the next year, but for the first big release that will come out in Q4. And we are actively welcoming customer participation. Give us a few quick use cases that you are interested in. We certainly have a vision for what we want to do, but we're always happy to listen, prioritize together as to what would be the most valuable to you. Commodity watch, like I said, I want to be able to predict price fluctuations because we in supply chain and procurement are all about that. So what are the root cause of certain types of price going up or down? Often it can be grounded in events, and we're the event company. We have this data. So we're building Commodity Watch, again, in partnership with 2 or 3 of our customers, where we'll be able to take unrelated or seemingly unrelated news news or events or alerts, and we're building the deep learning and neural networks to establish how price behaves for different commodities as a result of broader environmental changes and shifts. Really, really exciting solution. And then just more extending out, scorecarding, supplier performance, all of that further. Ultimately for procurement and supply chain, our goal is to be the one-stop shop, again, for supplier performance management. So Sandeep, I'll let you talk a little bit about visibility, and then I can talk about the predictive piece.
Yeah, sure. So let me just go to so thanks, Media, for setting up the stage again for the supply chain visibility modernization, as we call it, an ease of use project. So one of the things is from the supplier perspective, we want to make it as easy as it is possible, since they serve a lot of our customers. We wanted to hear from them what is their experience, which we did, and we are trying to make it easy for the supplier so that that engagement with you as a customer and the supplier that becomes much more effective and stronger. Now, with that said, this is a preview of a few of our designs that we have created so far. So from the supplier perspective, and this is a view from the supplier perspective, by the way. So right from the left-hand side, you can see a managed master data platform, which, if they are providing information to, if they're supporting it to a couple of customers, they have all that information in one place. They can view and edit. On the right-hand side, let's say a single site is being leveraged by multiple customers. They have that option to quickly connect that site to multiple suppliers rather than going one by one, opening one file at a time. Rather, everything is connected and it's easily and flexible to share for the customer. Similarly, at the bottom, what you see is, the different tabs of information that we collect from, the site contacts to the part site mapping to the sub-tier information. Everything is interconnected so that for the supplier, it is more like just completing an assessment for one company, and they can connect additional customers together for that data. And at the end of the day, it's much more easier, faster, and quicker way for part site mapping for the suppliers as well. So we want to make sure we hear the supplier, make the changes, and more importantly, make them happy as well. Vidya, back to you.
All right, so with that, thanks, Sandeep. So with that, I'll talk about this really interesting PO predictive analytics work that we have been doing for the last 4 or 5 months, working, as I said, with extensive amounts of customer provided PO history data. Combined with Resilinc event data. Now, in the normal course of business, let me tell you, without a Resilinc type solution, if a company in-house is trying to build this, you're going to be certainly not lacking for PO data. You're going to have tons and tons of years of PO history, and you'll be running it through your machine learning model and saying, okay, which supplier is the most at risk of a delay in delivery? Now, that is definitely doable, and the only challenge is the accuracy is not going to be as high because you're missing the causality. Just because a supplier was late for a couple of Novembers doesn't mean anything unless you know why they were late in that November. And it's certainly not always seasonal. So what Resilinc brings out is 2 things. One is, what is the group of news or events? Events are kind of big scale type things that happen, like an earthquake related delays or something. We have that data. We have 10 years of that history. So when we take 10 years of your PO data, match it against 10 years of our event history data, it brings out the causality of why that PO from that supplier in November 2 years ago was late. This is really, really new work. It is work that has not been done before because, again, the Resilinc data set has been missing when you're trying to do this in-house with your own IT and your own in-house data set. So I am really excited about this because we will be able to predict PO delivery delays in the normal course of business as well as during events or post-events. And where we're taking this model further in the coming months is being able to take the compounded effect of multiple and seemingly small or unrelated news events. So something that was a non-event like a lawsuit that became a series of lawsuits that then became a regulatory crisis, like the site was shut down by the regulator and then that caused PO delivery delays. This doesn't happen within 2-3 months. This builds up, and there are leading indicators of this ahead of time. We're taking that and harnessing that information. So the way this will be looking in the Resilinc system is two things. Obviously, at the home page level, when you enter the system for a given event, we'll be able to tell you that an event has the likelihood to affect PO delivery performance from your suppliers, and also how long. And the second is within what time frame, right? So those are kind of the couple of things that we will be able to predict. And then obviously it requires us to integrate PO information from you into the Resilinc system so that we can display the purchase order data in the war room and show you which of the purchase orders are most at risk and how much the delay could be. This is obviously machine learning driven, and we have spent extensive amounts of time building the machine learning model, testing it, and we are really welcoming customers who are interested in harnessing this capability to kind of talk to us because we want to be able to test the model with your data set, eliminate any business process related conditions that could be causing a false delivery delay, and fine tune the results of the model for your specific industry and business as well. So there's a lot of opportunity. There's a consulting project that we're doing to test the model. So talk to us. The AI engine at the end of the day, and this is a question on the a docket, which is the AI the same as EVA? EVA is kind of the catch-all phrase for Resilinc's whole entire NLP, machine learning, and deep neural networks algorithm, but it's a series of different types of algorithms that we kind of catch all under the artificial intelligence name called EVA. But underneath EVA, there are different types of machine learning and AI technology. And so I think let's go on to the end. I think we have 2 minutes left. I will happily answer questions that may come up, but as we leave, I wanted to leave you with a few things. We want you to adopt Resilinc, be excited about what you have, try out how the system has been upgraded, enhanced, and what all are the new capabilities we have unlocked. And to that end, we want to take out as many barriers to adoption as possible. And so what we would love for you to do is bring in as many mobile app users as you want. I mean, mobile app does not require a lot of resources from our side to train people. It's very intuitive. We're very, very easy and comfortable downloading and learning mobile apps nowadays. So we're offering unlimited mobile app users through end of the year. And certainly try out collaboration and messaging pertaining to events. We have 6 months to completely use it free of charge. And if people love it, great, we all win. And hey, you didn't spend any money, so if they don't, but I'm guaranteeing they're gonna love it because everybody's working from home. And this is this is information wherever you are. The second is self-serve assessments. We really want you to try this. By the way, we're encouraging our customers to do self-serve assessments because you know your suppliers and your suppliers know you. The reason Resilinc did so many partner relations services and all that was because our old platform did not allow us to give you the control over your own self-assessment. But with the new platform, especially with the self-serve and all that, we're encouraging you. You can do thousands of assessments for the price of, you know, what you pay Resilinc for a few hundred, because for us, we aren't putting resources. We're just selling software. If you have resources, please feel free to talk to us about how you can do self-serve assessments. As a way to quickly try it out, we're happy to offer you 50 assessments self-serve to, you know, try this capability out. The workflow piece, again, we want you to try this out. As I said, we've built this in collaboration with our customers. And as Sandeep said, this was all done in Excel. So we've built this to look like Excel. So again, very simple user interface, very simple workflow. Please use it free through the end of September and tell us what you think, give us your feedback, ways we can improve. It's an iterative process, as you know. Finally, Collaboration Center, love to offer this to you as well through the end of 2020. Because I think mobile app is free through the end of 2020 and it has collaboration. I think the two combined, we really hope that it really, you know, gives you a lot more support, appreciation for where we're going with this. I think that's, we're officially out of time, and I think there were a couple of questions. If we didn't get to them, I will make sure to have the team respond and personally as well respond by the end of today. Thank you again for attending. Sincerely hope that all of these you know, offers are, you take advantage of this. Give us feedback. We plan to keep coming back about every 2 months again. Because of COVID, we sort of paused our product roadmap updates, but we plan to keep coming back every 2 months and talk about the product and the roadmap and new features. Again, thank you for your support. Appreciate your partnership and your continuous feedback and collaboration. Thank you very much for being a partner. Take care.
Thank you, everybody.